We did it, y'all. We are back in the building on this Monday afternoon. Hopefully y'all are doing well. Shout out to everybody who's in here. Happy MLK Day. Y'all know what to do. We're back in the building. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. And welcome. Welcome to another YouTube live stream. I'm your host, ClassE at patreon.com/ClassEbeats. By the way, the link is in the description. Make sure y'all check it out. Also in the pinned comment in the chat, make sure you check out our new channel, Jury of Your Peers, where we have full court proceedings happening over there. Some of the ones that y'all are interested in, and we've got a couple coming up this week, so make sure you check that out. Hopefully y'all are doing well on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Hopefully everybody's feeling good. Wow, we got a lot to get into. I know y'all saw the title. Everybody's excited for it. We're going to talk about Karen Read and her first official in-person interview since she beat those charges and was found not guilty of John O'Keefe's death. And we're going to get into a couple of updates as well when it goes to what's going on in Minneapolis and Minnesota. It looks like the mayor and the governor might be indicted by the Department of Justice. We somewhat called this and talked about it in the last couple of shows. We're going to get into it today. But before I do, I got to say what's up to the people who make this show the amazing place that it is. And that's you. Shout out to the gang in here. We've got, of course, my beautiful, awesome, amazing Amy E in here. Y'all see her in the building doing what she does, being amazing. Amy, thank you for everything that you do. I love you. I appreciate you so much. Taco Tuesday's in here. Les Cleaver, my guy. Taco Tuesday, let me say it right, is in here a day early. We got Jaden Buckmasters in the building. Virginia Wiley is in here. Good to see y'all as well. Thank you to everybody who's in the building. If you've been on the show before, you know I only ask for one thing, and that is that you all like the video on your way in. Likes are free, helps the channel continue to grow. Lets the algorithm know you guys are enjoying the show. It shares the video, the channel, this live stream you're watching right now with more people. So thank you to the nearly 600 of you that have liked the video so far. I know y'all love you some Karen Read, but dang, y'all are showing major love. So we're going to get into that shortly. Thank y'all to everyone who shares the video. If you want to share the video and go the extra mile, you can click the button that says share. It's got an arrow that's curved pointing to the right, and that'll allow you to share the video out on Instagram, X, Facebook. You can even share it in your group chat or via text, however you want to do it. And last but not least, I will be reading super chats as we go throughout the show as well. So thank you to everyone who goes the extra mile and helps us keep the lights on here on the show. Les Cleaver said, it looks like we might be lagging a little bit. Let me double check and make sure we're good. It looks like we're good to go, Les. So you might be in a bad area. Shout out to Les Cleaver, one of the hardest working guys I know. He's always out there working and watching us while he's getting it in over at work. So you're probably on the lunch break, Les Cleaver. Hopefully you enjoy your lunch break as well. Let me see what y'all are saying in the chat real quick. I'm cold too. It snowed again in Northwest Florida. That is crazy. I know the kids were hoping that we would get some snow out here in Fulton County in Atlanta, but we haven't gotten any. We got a little bit of rain. It rained, what was that, Friday night going into Saturday morning, and then that was it. We didn't get any snow. They were so disappointed. Les Cleaver was asking how the weather is where we're at. This morning it was 24 degrees here in Atlanta, and then it got up to 30. I think it's, what is it now? It's 42 right now. So we might be able to get outside, but I don't know. We went outside yesterday and it was chilly. I think it was in the low 30s yesterday. And I pushed through to make it outside, but I don't know. Snow in Florida is insane though. All right, if y'all are ready, we're going to go ahead and get into it. As I mentioned, we do have a lot to cover today as usual, and we've got some great topics for you all as well. The first one is a little bit of a follow-up because we've been reporting on everything that's happening in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, and specifically what was said by the governor and the mayor of Minneapolis. There's a lot of pushback, a lot of stuff going on with Renee Good being shot and killed, with the mayor saying he doesn't like ICE there. He doesn't want ICE there. If they need help, they'll call the National Guard. ICE can just go. The governor somewhat saying the same sentiment. And I was surprised, and I mentioned it in the last video, that Jacob Fry didn't speak on some of the violence and some of the things that's being done by the protesters when it comes to them interfering with this law enforcement investigation, law enforcement, whatever you want to call it. One, it's not safe. Two, I don't think it helps anything, in my opinion. And three, we've heard from several ICE agents who said, y'all, we're just here trying to do a job. We're here to get offenders. We showed the list of people who were arrested right there in Minneapolis, that the chief of police in Minneapolis and that Jacob Fry seemingly just want to leave alone by the rhetoric that they've been spilling. So now we're going to hear that the Department of Justice is looking into and investigating not only Jacob Fry, but the governor as well. Check this out from Fox News.
Breaking tonight, Fox News confirms the Justice Department is investigating Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry for allegedly impeding law enforcement efforts on the ground. Again, confirming that DOJ investigation. Progressive Democrats, meantime, were in Minneapolis today, rallying around protesters, claiming the Trump administration is to blame for the chaos. The remarks from Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Premier Jayapal come after another night of disorder in Minneapolis. Congressional
again, how are they to blame? How is an administration to blame for this? This situation with ICE has been going on. It's just because certain people on a certain side don't like the way things are being done now. They have an issue. This has been happening. It's just now protesters are involving themselves because they hate the person who's the president, the man who's the president right now. Okay, if you want to blame it on the administration because Donald Trump is the president, then I guess so. But he's not the one out here interfering with law enforcement.
Blame for the
chaos.
Come
on, man.
The remarks from Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Premier Jayapal come after another night of disorder in Minneapolis. Congressional correspondent Bill Malugin has the story live from inside Minneapolis. Good evening, Bill.
Brett, good evening to you. We begin with some breaking news. You just mentioned it just moments ago. Multiple DOJ sources confirming to Fox News that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry are now both under federal investigation for allegedly interfering with immigration enforcement here in Minnesota. We are told that probe is early but ongoing. More on that for our viewers as we get it. In the meantime, despite a snowstorm out here in Minneapolis, it appears we are headed for yet another night of protests on the ground. You can see the crowd continues to grow here at the federal Whipple building here in Minneapolis. These federal agents aren't backing down, and the the protesters say they aren't going anywhere either.
Wow.
Tensions and tear gas flaring in Minnesota as anti-ICE chaos boils over. Protesters taking out their anger on federal immigration agents and their vehicles outside of the federal building in Minneapolis Thursday night.
And if y'all are wondering what the temperature is in Minneapolis right now, it is -2 degrees. Never. It wouldn't be me.
Two sides squared off once again.
My God.
Oh, wow. The feds are cracking down on the lawlessness, arresting a man accused of being a part of this mob as they broke into and vandalized an FBI vehicle. Homeland Security charging Raul Gutierrez, who they say is a Latin Kings gang member, with stealing a rifle and body armor.
Minnesota, you are not alone, and we will stand up for real accountability, for justice, for all of you and for all of America.
Okay, but they're speaking out. Fine. But where are the comments? Do this peacefully. You don't need to do this. Leave them alone. You can protest while still avoiding getting shot and have your eye taken out or shot and killed. You can still have an effect if you protest the right way. But no, none of that. They're just shrugging their shoulders saying, well, I mean, it is what it is.
As some progressives call to defund ICE, congressional Democrats held a field hearing in nearby St. Paul today. They point the finger at the Trump administration for the ongoing violence that intensified after an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good in what DHS calls self-defense.
It is increasingly clear that the entire purpose of these actions is to provoke chaos and fear in order to justify invoking the Insurrection Act and expand the president's ability to rain terror upon American cities who do not vote for him.
While President Trump...
Yeah, but who's encouraging this type of behavior? Okay, I'm going to leave it alone. Y'all know how I feel about this.
...threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act. For now, he says he's not quite ready to send in the military.
I don't think there's any reason right now to use it, but if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful.
And Brett, just moments ago, DHS released yet another worst of the worst list of criminal illegal aliens arrested by ICE right here in Minneapolis. Yesterday alone, they include a convicted murderer from Vietnam, a man from the Marshall Islands with 24 separate criminal convictions, and multiple convicted drug traffickers. We'll send it back to you.
Bill Maluchin, live in Minneapolis.
Shout out to Bill. I mean, again, y'all don't want to hear it from me. I'm going to let the ICE agent speak on this. These ICE agents are sick of these people yelling and getting in their face. And they're not bothering them. They're not bothering them. They're trying to do a job. They're not arresting any of them unless they interfere. This is what an ICE agent had to say to people who were protesting and trying to prohibit them from doing their job.
So you're reporting, we're here to arrest a child sex offender. And you guys are out here honking.
Oh, they're not. No, we're press. We're not
That
honking.
vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting.
He said it right. That's who you guys are protecting. What is this doing? How is this helping? How's this making a difference? Do you really want ICE to stop and keep these people in the country? I don't.
Insane.
I don't know why this guy's talking to him. It's not going to make a difference.
My word is not for you. I don't have to go. It's insane how you can be honking. So you're reporting.
It's not worth it, brother. Just, hey, save your breath. They don't care. They're going to keep doing what they're doing. So again, getting back into our main topic with Jacob Frey and the governor, here's what he had to say in response to the rumors that he was being investigated by the Department of Justice.
Welcome back, and joining me now is Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Mayor Frey, welcome back to Meet the Press.
By now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here 2 weeks in a row to discuss the urgent situation in Minneapolis. On Friday, of course, the Justice Department announced an investigation into you and Governor Walz. At issue, these accusations that you impeded immigration enforcement in Minneapolis. What is your reaction to the investigation, and have you, in fact, received a subpoena at this point?
We haven't received anything, a subpoena or otherwise. And obviously, it would be deeply concerning if the federal government is targeting someone for a product that is quite literally my job. It is my responsibility to speak on behalf of Minneapolis residents. It's my responsibility to do everything possible to keep our city safe. And so while I haven't received a subpoena or anything else at this point, this should be deeply concerning, not just for Minneapolis, but for anybody out there. And whether it's Senator Slotkin or Governor Walz or Senator Kelly, to have a federal government targeting people simply because of the speech they are using and that it runs against some of the things that the federal government is saying. I mean, this is stuff that happens in other countries. It shouldn't happen in America.
Well, let me ask you, because on Tuesday, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche posted this. I'm going to read it to you, get your reaction on the other side. Quote, ICE operates in thousands of counties without incident. Men and women doing their jobs, protecting us from criminal aliens. Minnesota insurrection is a direct result of a failed governor and a terrible mayor encouraging violence against law enforcement. It's disgusting. Walz and Frey, I'm focused on stopping you from your terrorism by whatever means necessary. This is not a threat. It's a promise. He is accusing.
Yeah, and Todd is correct. Not only outside of counties without incident, but this has been happening for years and years and years and decades and decades and decades. We could talk about, and I don't want to go into in the administration part of it. I just want to look at this from the legal aspect. But we could talk about the Obama administration. We could talk about the cages that were so famously blamed on the current president of the United States, then 45th president of the United States. We've gone back and we've watched videos of how other administrations have felt about illegal immigrants. They called Barack Obama the deporter in chief. So let's not get into this administration versus administration thing. This is clearly a pushback against a lot of other issues and the hatred for someone who is in office right now and is being pointed and directed at these ICE agents who have been operating inside of the U.S. for decades.
Accusing you of terrorism, Mr. Mayor. How do you respond?
Yeah, never once have we pressed for violence against any law enforcement officer.
Never once have you said, hey, guys, relax and do this the right way. That's also true.
My primary job in Minneapolis is to keep people safe. That safety is being put in jeopardy, not by our Minneapolis residents, not by our local law enforcement that is working tirelessly, but by an invasion that is taking place in our city. I mean, we have around 600 police officers, and there's somewhere in the range of 3,000 to even 4,000 ICE agents and border control. If the goal is safety, if the goal is maintaining a peace, I'll tell you, there's a very good antidote to some of the danger we've been seeing, and it's just to have ICE leave. And so we have been working very hard with a number of different jurisdictions to keep the people of our city safe. People in our city have been working very hard to keep themselves safe. I mean, it's been completely inspiring to see tens of thousands of people in our city standing up for their neighbors. It's not just about resistance, it's about love. It's about love for the people of our city, you know, sliding down icy sled hills to attend a protest, or making sure that somebody's got an escort to the grocery store and they're not just randomly picked up in the meantime. I mean, this is the kind of concerning stuff that's taking place in Minneapolis, and I think people around the country should be very concerned about it.
I want to play you something.
Yeah, so again, I think the reason he's having issues and the Department of Justice is looking into this in the first place is because this right here. Jacob, take accountability, man. You're as the mayor. If you see this type of stuff happening in your city, just give the people some direction. Don't just throw up your hands and say, hey, well, you know, I'm just trying to protect the people of Minneapolis. And yeah, they're out here protesting because they're tired of whatever. No. Give them some direction. Help them see different ways they can handle this. They don't have to use the roads and block the ICE agents how they're moving. There are other ways this can be done, nonviolent ways that this can be done. I want to know what y'all think in the comments in the chat. This is just the beginning of what's going on between the Department of Justice, Tim, and Jacob Fry. It's a mess, a whole mess, man. Shout out to y'all in the building. Thank you to everybody who's in here. We're going to get into Karen Reed in a minute. Again, it's pretty simple. Someone comes into your country illegally, and especially they come into your country illegally and commit crimes. They shouldn't be in this country. Illegally. Where are we missing that? And just saying you can enter this country illegally and somehow you have certain rights that apply to you. In some cases, yes. In most cases, no. This guy's a moron. I think he's very unwise in the way he's handling this. They show up to disrupt. They're not even there for a cause. I mean, and let's just say, you know what? Hey, you guys, stop ICE. And ICE is gone out of your city. Now what? Again, what do you actually want in this situation with the protest? What do they actually want? Do they want ICE to stop? Do they want ICE to stop moving the way they've been moving? Maybe have a better process? What exactly are they protesting? Do they want ICE to take more, I don't know, immigrants who are white? I mean, it's hard to understand. And hearing the rhetoric that's being pushed behind this, again, from the mayor and the governor, it seems like it's just, oh, well, Trump's doing this and we don't like it. That's really all you got so far? I don't know. I think it's unfortunate that this is being handled this way. It's unfortunate that people are being injured, losing their lives. And the mayor and the governor, they have a responsibility here. They have a responsibility, plain and simple. Let me make sure this next segment's keyed up. Thank you to everybody who's in the building. Thank y'all to all 600 of you, near 600 of you that have liked the video. Y'all are amazing, man. We're going to get into Karen Reed here in a second. Let me Let me make sure we get this ready. Here we go. There's still due process. Read your Constitution. I don't want to do this on this show again. Yeah, and listen, if you want to question my acumen as an American citizen, that's fine. But I think it's pretty clear to me that the way this is being handled is easily justifiable. And even the people who are opposing how ICE is moving and what ICE is doing, again, they're not clearly stating how this is wrong, or what's the alternative, or how this should happen. Okay, fine. You want to talk about due process. You want to talk about the Constitution. You want to talk about rights. How is that? How has that worked in the past? In Minneapolis, for example, we've seen people, a man we talked about, Somalian, who's committed multiple crimes, taken to jail, released, got an apartment, committed other crimes, taken to jail, released, still within the country. So what? No, question me. I'm not perfect. So let's just put the Constitution aside. What now? What due process? This guy goes before a judge and the judge says, hey, all right, we're going to keep you here in the US. We'll keep you in jail. You'll go through a trial. Hey guys, by the way, this man's not supposed to be in the country. All right, cool. We go through the trial, found guilty. You're found guilty. You stay in an American jail. He gets to stay in America. Is he extradited? Is he sent back to his country? What's the solution y'all have? You Constitution knowledgeable folks. What's the due process here? How does that apply? Maybe you can educate me. What should happen? Because I'm not hearing it from the people who are mad. They just want, stop it, ICE. You're going to put that burden on local law enforcement. Local law enforcement has enough issues. Why wouldn't you let literal immigration handle this? Because it's an immigration issue. Someone's in this country illegally. They commit crimes. They should not be in this country. Someone's in this country illegally. They shouldn't be in this country, period. Why do we have to? Man, I was going to use a phrase that's not appropriate for a more family show. What do y'all want to happen? It's common sense. I don't need to Google anything. ICE is saying, hey, not only are these people the worst of the worst, as they like to say, but they're in our country illegally, committing the worst of the worst. We covered what happened with Lincoln Riley. We've covered multiple instances where people have been murdered, harmed, assaulted by people who are not illegally in this country. If you want local law enforcement to handle that, okay, what's local law enforcement doing right now? Man, it got quiet in here. What happened? They just show up to disrupt. They're not even there for a cause. What do they want? Just ICE to stop? Okay. You know what? Let's just put this guy. I want to go to the ICE website now and pull it up again. Let's just let this guy go and let him go through the due process, whatever that means. You guys are so knowledgeable. Please tell me what the due process is for someone who commits crimes, who is illegally in the country and commits crimes here. And if that's the case, we'll just get rid of ICE and say, hey, and we're going to talk about the Minneapolis police chief. Probably not today. We'll probably talk about it in the next video because I know y'all want to get to Karen Reed, but I'm not that smart, Tax. I appreciate the compliment. Never question ClassE. He's very intelligent. No, question me. I don't know everything, but I do have a slither of common sense. And we're looking for solutions here. So if you're going to say, no, get ICE out of here. We don't like ICE. I just realized this wasn't open. See, I can't see my microphone. Then what's the solution? I'm just listening to a man preach after not seeing his stream for so long. Preach, brother, preach. Thank you for being here. Now, I'm trying not to be too preachy, but dang, this is annoying. Like, I don't even like politics like that, because I see the bigger picture when it comes to politics. Everybody's on the same side. It's just, why is this doing this? When it comes to politics, I don't like getting involved in the political thing, because Democrat, Republican, left, right, I think we can all, well, most common sense thinking people can see everyone has an agenda. And there's a reason things are the way they are. Thank you, Amy, for putting that in the chat. But when it comes to common sense issues like this, what do y'all want, man? What do y'all want? Do you just want local law enforcement to handle it? Or maybe there's some of you out there that just want these people to be allowed to be here. Again, it's hardly a solution, especially when it comes to one side versus the other, if we're going to talk sides. Now I'm tired on it. Anyway, let's talk about Karen Read, because this is what y'all are here for. Finally, Karen Read is speaking out as we are hearing the news that Alan Jackson and Karen Read are having a podcast. Karen Read, she got her feet wet a little bit and did her first official interview. So we're going to get into the interview that Karen Read did over the past couple of days. Very interesting stuff. I haven't listened to the whole thing, but we're going to get into it and I'll react to it with y'all as we see it for the first time together. But first, Karen Read we're going to get a little summary here from Inside Edition about what we'll see in the interview, and then we'll get straight into the interview from Rotten Mango. I will leave a link to the full interview in the description for you guys. Here we go.
Read, acquitted of murdering her police officer boyfriend in a courtroom saga that transfixed America, says her life may be in danger.
I hope good law enforcement knows why I feel the way I do, but I don't feel safe in Massachusetts.
The 45-year-old former college professor is speaking out in her first interview since her dramatic acquittal last summer. She says she's still struggling to rebuild her life.
I'm finally, reacting to this horrible thing that happened to me.
She was accused of mowing down her boyfriend, Boston cop John O'Keefe, in her SUV. She claimed she was framed by cops. Hundreds gathered outside court each day to support her.
I could not cry. I would not allow myself to cry.
Murder in the second degree. Guilty or not guilty? Not guilty.
There were extraordinary scenes of raw emotion on the day of her acquittal.
It was very overwhelming. My phone was blowing up. I wanted to decompress with my parents. And I'm like, I just really want to go back to the hotel and lay on my bed.
Do you want to tell us how you're feeling?
Go have a good happy. I'm happy.
But instead of joy, she tells the podcast Rotten Mango she felt depressed.
I felt sad. So I'm going to go back to the hotel, pack up my things, and then where do I go?
Now she's planning to write a book with Alan Jackson, her lawyer, who last week resigned from representing Nick Reiner for the murders of his parents, Rob and Michelle. Yeah. Karen Read expressed frustration that she's not making any money from upcoming movies, including a Lifetime movie that premiered last weekend. Read is...
And we're going to do a watch party on the Lifetime movie. So make sure if y'all haven't joined the Patreon, check it out. We're going to watch it and we're going to review it together. It's going to be a good time.
Played by actress Katie Cassidy.
You have the right to remain silent.
I have gone through a lot of pain and lost a lot. And you're telling my story to make money and you're not involving me. How much will people take on my coattails?
It's tough. Dang, is Karen taking shots at me for doing this segment? Hey, Karen, I'm not taking your whole story. I'm just shining a light in the interview. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. We're going to go ahead and get into Karen Read's interview here. Again, I want you guys to go support Rotten Mango and watch the full interview there. I'll leave a link in the description. Here she goes. And this is Karen Read talking about her experience in the trial and what happened and what she was experiencing before when she was arrested.
Happened to John O'Keefe. John O'Keefe entered.
I had this on super speed, y'all. I apologize.
the garage or the house at 34 Fairview, and much sooner than later, met his demise. Based on his injuries, it looks to me like he got into a fight and fell backwards. There was not a single pathologist in either trial that didn't say the mortal wound came from falling backwards and hitting his head. That was agreed on. He had bruises on his hands. The prosecution tried to say that those came from IVs, but I've had many IVs. I've had them in my hands, and my hands never looked like that. But I dropped him off. He went up to the breezeway, and 6 a.m., I find him in a heap, missing his hat, missing his shoe, and laying there with a piece of glass in his face. Yeah. So someone in that house killed John O'Keefe.
The Alberts have stated that they were asleep. And there's footage of you. There's body cam footage of you, like, screaming, dash cam footage. How loud were you screaming? Because there's all these comments about, oh, the wind, the blizzard.
I've done research, and my understanding is that the snow can muffle sounds. I don't need to wonder if Brian Albert and Nicole Albert were awake. According to the Commonwealth's own witness, mine as well, but theirs as well, Ian Whiffen, Nicole Albert at 5 a.m. has an answered phone call from Jen McCabe.
And not to mention that Nicole did not testify in the second trial. I would have loved to have heard that. Why it wasn't brought up, I'd be interested to know. Maybe Karen will get into that, but crazy. We know Jen was awake. Come on.
5 a.m. has an answered phone call from Jen McCabe. Answered and deleted. Furthermore, Nicole Albert at 6:07 a.m. and 6:08 a.m. has 2 more phone calls, each lasting about 7 seconds, from Jen McCabe, answered and deleted. This is not conjecture. This is not my theory. This is in the data. Pour over my phone records. By the way, I had no deleted calls, no deleted Google searches. I actually didn't have any Google searches at all. But I know from the data, according to the data, unless the data is wrong, and this is Celebrite, was just used to help convict Brian Walsh of murdering his wife. The same Celebrite used by law enforcement globally is telling me that Nicole Albert's phone answered a call from her sister at 5 a.m. and then 2 more at 6 a.m.
And the reason Karen's not talking about Jen's call is because you guys remember from the Celebrite data that they saw, Jen McCabe knew, don't know how she knew it, but she placed over 200 phone calls out over a short period of time. And even the Celebrite expert said, yeah, that's really strange. And what happens is that clears out your call log. So once you've placed over those 200 calls, the call that was at number 1, you place that 201 phone call, it's gone out of the call log. So that's what Karen means by deleted. It was just cleared out. Being married to a police officer, I'm sure that she knew that.
So that would lead me to assume that Nicole Albert was awake.
Have you guys ever tried to recreate the quote-unquote butt dials?
No, because it's not possible. It's not possible. I have called people, and we jokingly, my friends and I, and my family and I, we say butt dial when we mean, like, I may be scrolling through my call log, and I accidentally activate that name and it calls. Or someone sent me their number on Instagram, and I went to press it down and copy it so then I could save it in my contacts, and it called them. And then I'll say, haha, butt dial.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an actual accidental phone call made while the phone was completely inert. That's what they're saying butt dials are. Even if you're able to inadvertently make a phone call, they're all doing it in the middle of the night. All of them. Higgins is saying he made a butt dial. Brian Albert is saying it was a butt dial.
Well, it's kind of like a butt dial.
I believe I used the word butt dials.
Well, I used a phrase that people commonly used as a butt dial.
Not just a butt dial, but a butt answer and a butt hang up on both ends. So you're saying you accidentally called him.
Crazy.
He accidentally answered. He accidentally hung up, and then you accidentally hung up. Jen McCabe said the slew of phone calls to John at 1:15, between 12:30 and 1 o'clock, she had over a dozen phone calls to John. She's claiming those were all butt dials. What are the chances these people who were together all night are engaging in, if you count them, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 butt phone actions? Answering, dialing, hanging up. They appear, they meaning the Alberts, McCabe's, and Higgins, appear to have kept it simple and agreed to several mantras, and just those mantras. One of them was butt dials, and the other, I don't recall, or not that I recall.
I don't remember.
I don't recall.
I don't remember.
I don't recall my interview.
I don't recall.
I do not recall having.
I don't recall.
I don't remember.
I don't remember if I was tired.
If they were coached,
It's true.
it was smart. Keep it simple. Because when they start to add details to their renditions of what happened that night, they're completely inconsistent. Brian Higgins said his Jeep was parked in front of the house. He backed it up. He had a plow. He went into great detail, and he jokingly plowed some snow for Brian and Nicole to pull in, and then Matt and Jen, and then he V'd out and pulled in front of the house by the mailbox. Yet Jen McCabe didn't see the car, and she was apparently on night watch at the front door and never saw a Jeep with a plow, which is something memorable.
She's so sore.
Ryan Nagel, Ricky D'Antonio, and Heather Maxson were behind me. They never saw the Jeep. So my point being, their group thought is simple, but as soon as you require details from these people, their stories are all over the place.
Do you think Chloe, the Albert's German Shepherd, is still alive?
This is the question I get asked the most, is what happened to the dog? And I realize I do not have a dog. I realize this is where society is a lot of us love dogs more than we love people, or just as much. But I get this answer, this question constantly. I have no idea what happened to Chloe. Based on what I know, I would guess the dog is dead. I don't believe it's the dog Karen. They claim it is up in New Hampshire. We asked for proof, and all they gave was animal control vaccination records that I can literally go to animal control and get a copy of the vaccination records. And this
man, rest in peace to Chloe, man. Dang. This was such a good interview, and we had to talk about Chloe. It hurts my heart. I think Chloe's gone. Karen's probably right.
Woman in New Hampshire who we have no address, no phone call, no phone number for. She's claiming this is the dog. This was his birthday, and this is his vaccination. Well, anybody can get that.
At what point in the investigation did you feel like, okay, this is not an investigation into a tragic accident? I'm being framed. Like, what is there a specific moment it hits you?
So they had my phone in my car within a half hour of coming to my parents' house. So they left my parents at 4:15 on January 29th. They took my phone and they took the car. I was hoping desperately, this is a case of they've got the wrong guy. Yeah. I'm arrested on February 1st. I spend the night in a holding cell, and then I'm arraigned the next morning. I hadn't met in person David Yannetti, but I had already engaged with him on January 29th. He comes to the holding cell at the courthouse in Stoughton, and he has one copy of the police report that Michael Proctor authored. He's holding the police report. Now, they're already calling my case at 9 a.m. It's like 9:10, and I don't know what I'm walking into. I don't know what they have against me. I don't know anything. David is holding the police report, and we're reading it together. They only gave him one copy. So his hands between the bars, I'm leaning in, and we're reading it quick. I don't know how I had the focus to even comprehend and read at that moment. It was like just another fight or flight. Focus, Karen. This is about to be read in front of a courtroom filled with people. The first thing that stood out to me was, it said they arrived at my parents' house, Proctor and Buchnick, arrived at my parents' house at 4:30 p.m. and left at 5:30 p.m. And I knew right away that was wrong. I've lived in New England most of my life. 5:30 in the middle of January is pitch black outside. 4:30 p.m. is almost pitch black outside. And I knew when they left my house, my parents' house, it was still somewhat light outside, because I remember watching the flatbed with my truck go by the front window.
Wow.
I knew they had gotten to the house around 3 o'clock, and I knew they weren't there for 2.5 hours. So I thought, well, maybe this is how police reports are written initially in a cursory fashion, that they're approximate times, and then we can tighten timelines later. But that always bothered me. And then every affidavit that was accompanying every seizure of evidence after that kept saying the same thing, that on January 29th, we went to the house in Dighton at 4:30, we left at 5:30. So that was the first time I thought, all right, we're dealing with very sloppy, imprecise police. That was my...
Not to mention that this dude rode around with evidence in his car for weeks. This dude being Michael Proctor. Disgusting.
First inkling that this isn't completely ticked and tied. After I was released from the arraignment on February 2nd, that evening, David Yannetti called me and said he had gotten an anonymous phone call from someone saying, you need to pay attention to who lives in the house. I had not even thought about the Alberts. Not one way or the other, just that I knew that was their house and they had been with us the night before, and I had met them for the first time a week before that. So it was very early on. I've been lucky that very early on and at regular intervals since, I have been given gifts of information that helped buoy me. Yeah. I can't tell you, hearing that information from David, so of course, as soon as David says, this anonymous caller says, look at the owner of the house, I start Googling Brian Albert. And it's within seconds, I find a Google video of him in a boxing ring beating people up. And he looks, I've met him, but I haven't paid much attention to him, but he sounds gruff, and he's walking into some drug bust with some kind of shield and weapons, and he looked like a tough, mean guy. Mind you, though, at this time, I didn't know John's injuries in detail. When I found him, he had a cut on his nose on his left side, and he had a cut above his right eye. He had blood coming out of his nose, and his eyes were like eggs. But I didn't know if he had broken ribs or his femur was sticking out of his body. I mean, it didn't seem to be, but I didn't know if he had internal bleeding. I didn't know until I saw the hospital photos in May how obvious it was that this body was not hit by a car or anything like that.
And it was clear from even the medical experts, shout out to Dr. La Posada, that he sustained an injury to the back of his head, which would have been impossible for him to have suffered being hit by a car. So again, the story doesn't add up.
Like a car, and this body looks like it was beaten up. So it was every couple months. So we got that tip. We didn't get much. March and April of 2022 were very tough. Yeah. John was in my life so much, so thickly, and then he wasn't anymore. It was the only relationship I've had, and I've had many that, I mean, I'm 45 and I've been dating since I was a teenager, that ended with such finality. I can't call him when I'm out in Boston at 1 a.m. when the bar closes like I did when I was in my 20s. I can't miss him in a few weeks and say, just thinking of you, or can I drop by and see you? I've never been forced to deal with such finality. I've never had a death that close to me. So March and April were difficult. There just wasn't anything going on. We weren't getting any police reports. I still didn't know what they were using to charge me. And it was in May that they finally released the photos that were taken of him at the hospital, and then the autopsy, with two different events. And it was very obvious to me, this is not what they're claiming. There's a cracked taillight on my car, and John is pristine from the neck down, with the exception of his right arm. And coupling that, and David continued to get this anonymous tip to look at Brian Albert. Coupling those together, it gave me hope that I may be able to figure out what happened.
We saw the footage of the second arrest, which was probably one of the more shocking pieces of footage connected to your case. You had no idea that they were coming because you're just in short pajamas and you're begging to change before they take you in. And then eventually they mock you because you beg to change. And they're like, look at how much she cares about being on TV. Have you seen the footage?
I have seen stills of it, but I've steered clear. It is very difficult for me. And I've warned my parents not to. I think my dad just watches everything, but I've warned them not to.
I'm being charged with second-degree murder now? That's correct. I have no idea what this is about now.
It's about the same exact incident, okay?
You say Yuri snatched her phone, too.
The medication.
Can I use the ladies' room?
I understand. We're going to get
all your parents, and they can come over and retrieve any item you need at once.
Yeah.
I can't put...
Hold on. What about the shoe wear? What kind of footwear do you wear?
Anything, but can I? These are. I don't even have underwear. Can I put pants on?
Again, your parents can come over here and retrieve anything.
We'll get that medication for you. And
Can I put pants on, please?
Can you just step over the side, please?
Where are your pants?
At the foot of my bed. Can I take a pair of sheets?
In the meantime, let's follow this trooper right here, all right?
And Karen's, again, biggest concern, she knew this was going to get out. She knew this was going to get out and people were going to see it everywhere. Sad, man.
Where can I put my pants on?
At the barracks.
Can I put them on before I go out of my house, please?
Ma'am, that's not part of our procedure. Once someone is
put pajamas.
But you don't have a chance to change. Through the barracks.
Sad, man.
Have a seat there for me. Then you gotta put that point or double lock. It's just like Shelly. Give me the cameras on her. She's more concerned when she looks like on TV. Yeah. I'm still recording, just to let you know. Okay.
I have seen the footage from my own backyard camera after I was arrested the first time. And once I started to figure out what was happening, I was frightened. I was frightened about who was on the other side, who was on the law enforcement side that is trying to pin this on me, and who killed John that could be in my backyard right now.
Yeah.
And then I learned about Sandra Birchmore. I did worry. I live alone. I'm like a sitting duck.
Yeah.
Will I be hanging from a doorknob in my house?
Yeah.
And they could easily explain it as guilt, depression over what had happened, and she just gave up. So the first 6 months of 2022 were difficult. I had not even been explained to the concept of an upcharge. My understanding was you get indicted on what you were charged for. I didn't realize that the district attorney can present anything he wants to the grand jury, and they can charge me with anything. They could have charged me with also breaking into the Alberts' house and stealing their TV set while I was parked outside. I didn't realize that, and shame on me that I didn't learn that. I was trying to learn as much as I could. During these months, I was reading a book every couple days just about the criminal justice system and defending yourself and how this works. But June 9th, I was home alone like I was most days.
And we saw that video. We're gonna leave it there for a second because we've seen this video. I want to know what y'all think about this. Karen making some great points and even revealing some information that I didn't remember from the first time, specifically because we didn't watch the first trial here. We saw the second trial, and a lot of testimony was left out from that second trial, specifically between Jen McCabe and her sister. I want to know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. We're going to get into more of this interview and actually talk about what Karen Read experienced during the trial. Make sure y'all check it out. And shout out to the gang. There's 6,000 of y'all in the building. Thank you to everyone who's in here. And thank you. We're almost at 100% likes. So thank y'all for liking the video. We're going to do a little bit of a skip ahead here. I want to read some of these comments and also shout out some of the super chats. Shout out to my guy CPE over on the Cash App. What did he say? He said, let me see if I can pull this up. He dropped the 5-bomb and he said, yeah, Minnesota is 100% alone. I don't know what they're doing over there. I don't know what they're doing over there, but they need to get it together because this entire situation is tragic. A lot. If they keep going, more people are going to be hurt. It's not worth it at all. Thank y'all for being here, man. Shout out to CPE for the super chat. We've also got, shout out to Nomad says the real question is, to me, what do you try and tell people whom don't want to listen, or worse, want the chaos? There really isn't much an answer for them, sadly. Nope. No, not at all, unfortunately. And again, I asked the questions like, what do y'all want? You saw the chat got really quiet. Hopefully somebody sees this after the live stream and gives me an answer, because it just seems like there's a lot of frustration and maybe misdirected anger at these ICE agents, because they've shown evidence of what they're doing. You can go to the ICE website and see the people who have been arrested and removed. Not great people, not people you would want in this country. So is that what you're actually fighting for? Or do you feel like your own rights are being encroached upon? I just want a clear answer because I haven't heard it yet. Let's go ahead and get back into this Karen Reed interview. Now we're going to hear from Karen Reed, and she's going to talk about her experience during the trial and some of the things that they saw behind the scenes in their investigation. Check this out.
And in intimate situations, but I'm proud of what I've had to deal with. And the more I talk to people and the older I grow, I know everyone's got something. No one.
Oh, by the way, I'll leave a link to this full interview in the description for y'all, so you can go support Rotten Mango.
Is escaping completely in one piece as we age. I cared more about his lies, him lying so blatantly. Every search warrant, 9 of them, took the car at 5:30. Why? Because the CERT team, and this was another major lamppost in 2022 for me, was when I was finally indicted after the awful experience of June 9th into June 10th. The floodgates opened, and now we get all the discovery. And a cousin of mine who's an attorney, we agreed we'd get the discovery, which was thousands of pages. And we attacked it from, I think she went from the beginning to the middle, and I went from the end to the middle. And she's a lobbyist. She was working full time, but every night she went home. I worked on it all day. She worked on it all night. And she called me one night. This isn't about July. So I've been indicted now and upcharged for a month, and we're working our way through our discovery. I don't know what day. I would be guessing, but it was like a Thursday, a weeknight. She calls me at about 10 or 11, and she said, Karen, read the CERT report. This is the Crime Scene Services search team. It's an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and there's a whole box for a narrative about the evidence that was found at 34 Fairview, and there's only 4 lines that I needed glasses to read what they said. And it was that the first pieces of red and clear lens were found at 34 Fairview. I can't remember if the report said 5:45 or 6 p.m. And then all of a sudden it was, my light was not there all day long, because that was something I could not reconcile for months and months in 2022. But how did my taillight get there? How did they somehow find pieces of it broken at John's house from when I hit John's car at 5 a.m? And were they able to transport those? That's the only thing I could figure out. And I still didn't.
And not even to mention, we talked about this before as we were going through the second trial, not to mention that they didn't get the Ring camera footage from across the street, which is, again, wild. They didn't even look for it. Shout out to Sergeant Gallagher. So let's go back. I actually want to go back a little bit. And Karen Reed's going to talk about Proctor and the text messages here a little bit as well.
That I didn't learn that. I was trying to learn as much as I could. During these months, I was reading a book every couple days just about the criminal justice system and defending yourself and how this works. But June 9th, I was home alone, like I was most days. I would do yard work. I'd put headphones in. I'd wait for one of the lawyers to call. I had been mowing the lawn. I hadn't showered yet. I was wearing boxers, and I actually just had a tank top on. I didn't have any underwear on. And I came in from doing yard work, and I decided I was going to cook for myself. I mean, this was my catharsis. I would go outside. I tried to get sun. I did a lot of, ask my neighbors. I was out in my yard every day, just trying to sweat, at least physically tire myself out so I could sleep at night. And I was cooking. I was trying to eat well. So I was making a pot of chili. I was finishing everything up. I had music on, and all of a sudden I hear voices. And I lower the music. I go to the front door, and my windows are open. My storm door is closed, but the screen is up. And I heard a voice say, let's do this in the back. There's cameras out front. I had a very clear, it wasn't a Ring doorbell. It was
disgusting.
It was a higher end private security system, but there was a very visible camera over the front door. But I also had them 360 around my whole property. So I heard that voice, let's do this around back. There's cameras out here. I see 2 cops. I couldn't make out who they were, but I could see them walking around by the garage of my property, which kind of requires you to go down into the driveway.
Why are they
garage
running?
sits under the house, and then up a hill into my backyard. So I start shaking. I look out a window. I see there's a Mansfield, the town I lived in, Mansfield, Massachusetts, cruiser, and then I think 2 unmarked cars. Maybe there was a third, and I thought that something's happening. The first person I see, now I'm looking out the back window. I'm reaching for my cell phone. I see Michael Proctor in plain clothes walking by himself Now he's soon to be followed by Buchnick and another state trooper, I believe, and a Mansfield cop.
No, looking at Michael Proctor's history, he was probably hoping to catch Karen Reed coming out of the shower or something. Let's be real.
I think the state police have to call in local assist whenever they're in a different jurisdiction.
What a bum.
Oh, she's out back. Outside? Yeah. There's somebody in the house. Yeah.
For a split second, I thought Michael Proctor was there to hurt me. I had no idea. Why is he here? Why is he in plain clothes? Why is he at my back door, which is almost in the woods? There's no inviting path to my back door. You'd have no reason to go looking for my back door. I called David Yannetti, and it's just like a dream where you just can't dial the number, or you're trying to text and you can't get the text right. And it's like that in real life. Like, your hands are shaking, and I think I dialed his number like 3 or 4 times before I finally was able to dial it correctly.
Wow.
And I said, David, Proctor's here, there's police here. I don't know what they're doing. And I can't remember if David told me that he had just gotten a phone call that I was indicted, or if he guessed they may have just indicted you. I knew that they were close to, I was hearing through the grapevine that people were testifying. So I can't remember exactly what David said to me. I think I either called my dad.
That's
I think I called my dad.
Man.
And I said, Dad,
with all the Karen Reed being there, I'm sure she had seen some things, and being in a relationship with the police officer, I'm sure she heard some things. Can you imagine, after knowing what happened to Sandra Birchmore, just seeing this police officer show up at your house, someone like Michael Proctor, who I'm sure John O'Keefe had told Karen Reed about? Scary, man.
Daddy, I think I'm getting arrested again. And my poor dad, I know that was one of the worst moments of this whole thing, because we were just completely bewildered. Yeah. What now? So I take the phone. It's still dialed in. I'm connected to David.
I'm in my pajamas. I don't even have shoes on. I'm being charged with second-degree murder now?
That's correct. Big deal homicide and leaving the scene causing death and boiling.
I walk outside. One of the first things that happens, Proctor is reading me. He's reading me my rights, and he's telling me that I've been charged with murder. And Buchnick, in the middle of all this, I'm on sensory overload, but I'm trying to absorb what's going on. Buchnick takes my cell phone and goes, I'll be taking that. And he puts the cell phone, still connected to David Yannetti, in his pocket. There is no search warrant for that phone. That is not the phone I had on January 29th. They already have that phone. So they did, for some period of time, have my replacement cell phone, and who knows what they did with it. Dang. I know when they took it, there was an active line open to David Yannetti. So I know when Buchnick took the phone, there was at least an open line. So while Proctor's reading this to me, the indictment and my rights, he starts pinning my arms behind my back, and I'm trying to move away from him because I still don't understand. I've done everything. I've shown up at every hearing. I'm at my house. I haven't broken the law. I haven't driven. Why am I being arrested? I did hear the word murder, so there's gears grinding in my head that something's gotten worse here. So he's trying to pin my arms and cuff me, and I'm trying to move away from him. And at the same time, I'm saying to him, now, I haven't heard the tape, but my recollection is I'm saying to him, can I please have some clothes? I'm not even wearing underwear. Yeah. I've had a colostomy bag at 4 different periods in my life. So
dang, that's tough.
Leaving anywhere without pants or underwear or certain materials that I need is of the utmost embarrassment. And Proctor knows this. He said, I did see a clip of him saying she's worried because I think it was on TV.
Yes.
He said she's worried what she looks like for the cameras. All she can think about is the cameras.
He says, you see how crazy she is. She is more concerned about how she looks on TV.
See how crazy she is? Look at the cameras on her. She's more concerned what she looks like on TV. Yeah.
More of Proctor misrepresenting everything, including that. First of all, the only reason cameras were there is because the district attorney or the state police called cameras. I arrived at the state police barracks an hour later, and they were all there. I was escorted from the barracks the next morning for my arraignment, and they were all there, and they were all at the courthouse. So the only reason cameras are involved is because you're parading me and trying to make a case out of this. You're trying to show me looking this way like a criminal, and that's why you called the cameras in. But I should be allowed to put pants on or shoes. So Buchnick goes into my house. I see him on my own home
crazy.
surveillance system. He's in my house for about 10 minutes. I told him where my closet was, where the room was. I have a bunch of suits. I was a professional wearing suits and professional attire my whole career. I have a closet filled with these clothes, and I directed him to that closet. He instead goes to the barracks with a pair of flip-flops. I don't know where he found them from. My Havaianas that I wear to the beach, and ripped jeans that I had just taken off from mowing my lawn. They had holes. They didn't cover my ankles. I would never wear these jeans. The grass stains.
All right, here's all our medication and shoe wear that she wants. I'm gonna turn off my camera here.
I can't remember if they gave me the clothes to wear that night in the cell or if he gave them to me before I went to court in the morning. A girlfriend of mine came to the barracks in the middle of the night with court clothes, with black pants, a black top, and black shoes. And they would not allow me to put those clothes on for court. So I heard her come in. I was in the cell. And she said, can I give these for Karen for the morning? And they said something to her like, we can't guarantee that, but we'll take them. They gave them to me at some point the next day. They didn't allow me to put them on. Instead, they forced me to take the bag of clothes that Buchnick had secured, which was ripped jeans and flip-flops.
First right and first left.
That night was one of the worst nights of my life in the past 4 years because I called David from jail, and he was worried. He was not able to tell me anything to allay my fright. I mean, it's not concern, it was fright. And he said, they've upcharged you with murder. I don't know how they're able to do that, on what evidence, but they've increased the charges. They want to keep you locked up now through trial, through verdict. But if we're asking for bail, they're requesting $1 million, which of course I did not have. So I spent the night knowing that I've got to go before a judge tomorrow. I didn't know what judge it would be. And I have to hope they lower this bail, that they allow me to post it. A judge can deny you bail altogether, that you're a danger to society, you've been indicted for murder, you're not going home.
There are active lawsuits between you and Michael Proctor, amongst others, so there's some things that you can't say, but there are things that are indisputable. So Michael Proctor himself has admitted that he has texted people in group chats. He texted that he hasn't found your nudes yet. He talked about and made fun of your medical condition, saying, quote, she's got a leaky balloon knot, it leaks poo, calling you a, quote, whack job cunt, and then basically saying you are a babe with no ass.
She's got a leaky balloon knot.
You followed that up with the phrase leaks poo, didn't you?
I did. Yeah,
That's
she's
tough.
A babe. Weird fall.
That's got to be hard to hear, but I mean, because she can't help it. Dang.
All River
this
accent,
guy's
though.
disgusting.
No ass.
When did you first find out about these text messages? What was going on in your mind?
I knew there were vile text messages. They were under a federal protective order. They were first encountered by my team, by my lawyers in February of 2024, just before the first trial. I was not able to view these text messages. I just knew the generals, that they existed, and I knew they were involved in the cross-examination prep, which I was very involved in.
To have him, Michael Proctor himself, on the stand reading out what he sent, what's going on in your mind?
Yeah, there had been some leaks on Twitter that I saw an account, we called her a big, which I assumed someone like him uses language like that anyway. I knew in general that they were vile, but when he read them, I was actually annoyed that Adam Lally preempted us bringing these messages out in cross-examination. That should have been our moment. He's your lead detective. You're letting him lay this case out. This is showing bias. And Adam Lally, and you always run into this issue with trial, that if the evidence has already come out, you risk the judge saying, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Yannetti, that's already been asked and answered. So there was this worry that Lally is going to let Proctor read the text messages with very flat affect, and he did. You could barely understand. She's a babe with no ass. She has a leaky balloon knot. And next question, it was by design. Let's get him out there and preempt the defense from getting it out there. Luckily, we were still allowed, and we made the biggest moment of it. I cared more about his lies. What he said about me and my anatomy, it's disgusting, but it did not embarrass me. Michael Proctor does not have the ability to embarrass me. In fact,
that's fair.
I have all that I have in my life right now, and the love and support and new endeavors such as this and meeting people like you, ironically, because of Michael Proctor and what he tried to do to me. Joking about my apple. I mean, I don't even want to say it was a joke. He was talking about my rectum and that I've had rectal surgery. That this is a father of children, of boys, scarily. This is a husband of a woman, someone's son. This is a cop with power and carrying a gun and my age, more or less. And this is what this is his vernacular. A balloon knot and talking about my rectum. You're not embarrassing me. You're embarrassing yourself.
Facts. Shout out to Karen. She's
my medical issues, I've never been embarrassed by. I've struggled to deal with them in society and in intimate situations. But I'm proud of what I've had to deal with. And the more I talk to people and the older I grow, I know everyone's got something. No one.
Man, shout out to Karen Reed. She was up there cooking Proctor. Well said. It embarrassed him more than it embarrassed her. A lot of people felt bad and said, that's terrible. He's got to go up on the stand and read that. But Yuri Buchanan, several officers were asked to read the text. And they're like, I don't want to read this because it's embarrassing. You look crazy. You look like a fool. Shout out to Karen Reed for being so well-rounded. And as even TB has said multiple times, she's tough. She's tough. She didn't back down. And that's where she is today. I'll leave a link to this full interview in the description for you guys. Some great insight from Karen Reed, and good to see that she's out here telling her story, because it's a shame that she's not able to get the first opportunity to tell this story, but I have a feeling this isn't the last time we're going to hear from her. Shout out to the gang. Thank you to all 6,000 of you that are in the building. I also have to give a big thank you to my beautiful, awesome, amazing Amy E in here. 20 months of the Diamond membership status. Let's go. Shout out to the Diamond with the Diamond membership. Amy, thank you. 20 months is insane that she's been a member, always supporting on the show, off the show, in so many ways. All right. So shout out to Amy. Thank you. Happy belated bananiversary. If you don't know about the bananiversary, we'll have to tell that story one day. It's pretty crazy. But thank you, Amy, for the love and support that you've shown to me, that you've shown to this platform, and all the work that you've put in over the past, it's not just 20 months. We know that, but it's been a long time. If y'all haven't yet, please make sure you go and support Amy on her channel. The link is in the description. I'll also drop it in the chat for y'all so you can go and subscribe. She has some amazing content over there. She puts in a lot of hard work to make that channel great, to make this show the great place that it is as well. So shout out to Amy, man. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you. 20 months is crazy. She also dropped the cake in there, reminding me, don't forget about the cake. I won't, Amy. Amy, what the cake is, cake. Reminding me that it's lunchtime. It's past lunchtime, so we need to go ahead and get some lunch. I love you and appreciate you too. Shout out to Amy. Amazing, man. Y'all go check her out. Go support her. The link is in the chat and in the description as well. We're going to get out of here. We will be back tomorrow morning, so make sure y'all tune in for that. If you haven't yet, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live or drop a new video. We've got several more videos dropping for y'all this afternoon, so you don't want to miss out on that. And we're going to be live tonight on our other show, the Song of the Night Live, if y'all just want to hang out and listen to some great music. I appreciate you, all of you. Thank you to CPE as well for dropping the super chat over on the Cash App. As always, y'all know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We go. Peace.